Berg, talking to Flasse or Flace will allow you to learn Rune Magic. The runes by itself does nothing. It is when it is combined with another rune does it create a spell. Before I begin explaining what rune combinations create a spell, I would like to inform you that when you are casting the rune, your character will sheath their weapon and have an animation where they are motioning the rune, meaning you can't block while you are in the animation. Also, my placement of the runes are tailored so that it is easier to cast the spells I want by making the runes needed to combine closer together. Here are the basic rune spells. When you cast Foul and Des, you create Runic Lantern, a light source. When you cast Des and Egoth, you create Runic Protection, an armor buff. When you cast Shim and Foul, you create a Runic Trap. When you cast Shim and Egoth, you create a Runic Blade, an ethereal one-handed sword. This Runic Blade counts as a lexicon. Once you learn Arcane Syntax, you are given another set of spells, but you will need one of the previous spells mentioned as the base. While having Runic Lantern, casting Foul and Shim will produce Runic Lightning, a damaging spell. Casting Egoth and Des while having Runic Protection will consume said buff and heal you. Casting Shim and Shim while having a Runic Trap will detonate the trap. Casting Shim and Egoth while having a Runic Blade will turn it into a Great Runic Blade, a two-hander sword variant. For equipment, you can wear whatever you want like I stated in part 1 of this video. But if I were to recommend a starting armor, I would say the Blue Sand armor is the best. For weapons, my personal bias on swords would make me recommend you the Starchild Claymore or Brand. As you progress more into the game, I went for aesthetic looks and like the Wolfplate body armor and boots with the Hound Mask for armor. Weapons would then be the Radiant Wolf Sword and Wolf Shield. It looks pretty badass and looks like I'm RPing a Paladin with all the lights it has. Alright, so for inventory, this is what I usually run with. So I have an Endurance Potion, Discipline Potion, Mineral Tea, another variant of Stamina Potion, and then Bitter Spicy Tea, Astral Potion, another Astral Potion, maybe a Life Potion, Elemental Resistance Potion just for a backup, or your Elixir. But basically what you really need are just Stamina Pots, Mana Pots, Health, one greater health pot just in case you need to chug it, and a Thermite Pottage for mana regen, and also Alpha Sandwich. The reason for having Alpha Sandwich is so that you can get the Rage boon without having to use the skill and lowering your health. And aside from that, it's a shorter cooldown because you can eat it. You can create Alpha Jerkies by having 2 raw alpha meat with 2 salt, and you can create this alpha sandwich by having 1 alpha meat and 1 bread. So having this food as a form of getting the rage boon is much quicker than the rage skill itself. Aside from that, having the stamina potions helps a lot because when you drink it, you have this stamina buff that recovers your stamina for a very long time. Now, before entering combat, I would recommend always having the Blessed buff or Blessed boon on you at all times before you enter combat. And when you enter combat, you infuse light and then cast the Blessed Boon again. In doing so, you increase your total lightning damage from your Radiant Wolf Sword, and um, it gives you light. It also gives you light. So if the light is not enough, you can also cast your Runic Lantern by casting that, and you have more light now. But not necessary in some sense, because some caves aren't that dark, and so just having the uh, lightning buff or the lightning buff on your sword is enough to provide a light, because your radiant sword also gives light. So does your shield a little bit. It emits a little bit of light. Besides that, going into the battle, you would want to cast the runic protection and then the elemental buff that you need against that opponent. And also, you do want to have the rage boon at all times, so you would need to eat that alpha jerky uh, or the alpha sandwich. I'm trying to find an opponent for us to take, but I'm guessing I already cleared this and it didn't respawn yet, because usually there'd be a guardian there, or what I call my friend, that now has to kill us. Alright, so for this one, they do some decay damage, so you're gonna cast that, and aside from that, you're gonna eat your alpha jerky, and then for this one, you can just use the discipline potion. And then you just hammer away at them. Just as easy as that. Again. Now see, the damage is so negligible unless you stand in it. Yeah, that's about it. You can just hammer away. And if you do take damage, you just cast Runic Healing, and voila! You are now good to go again. And you just cast that. If you need to regen some more stamina, drinking water always helps. Regen some more of that stamina. Let's find more abominations. Oh, and fun fact, the skill Brace can actually be used to counter or nullify the damage that you would receive from range attacks. I just gotta find somebody who does range for us to show that it works. So again, we wanna cast the infused light to our weapon, and then hammer away. You're like basically a super tank at this point. And then if you have burnt health, you can always use the mineral tea that you have to clear that off before you cast your runic healing. So yep, a lot of utility. So going back, casting Brace will allow us to block the range attack. See, you blocked it. You can sit in that for like a very long time before you actually feel the umph of the damage. So there's a lot into this build. Imagine if you had Brand. I would, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, would say that Brand is the stronger sword over the Radiant Wolf Sword simply because of the debuffs it has. The ice or frost damage debuff as well as the pain debuff makes it so that Brand can actually output damage once the debuff is on. Versus the Radiant Wolf doesn't have a physical damage, it just has pure light damage in a sense. So it's really lacking. But what can you do? It looks cool. So I am gonna RP as a Paladin. So that's all the tips I have. So good luck with this build and I hope you liked it. Hey, this is Ra. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe, or hit me up a follow on the following platforms. If I missed or I got anything wrong, don't be afraid to leave a comment. Thanks.